Not only is LinkedIn your online resume and record of career accomplishments, it's also the premier site for business networking. However, one of the ways you might not be leveraging LinkedIn yet is as a portfolio. So why stop at just putting your resume up when you can add so much more? One of those additions is recommendations, and asking for recommendations on LinkedIn is as easy as clicking a few buttons. You may wonder how and why recommendations play a part in your LinkedIn strategy. After all, you've put that energy into building your profile and making connections. Isn't this one more thing to do? Yes, it is, but it's incredibly powerful, especially as a job seeker. Think back a decade or two when you and every other job seeker would have to track down letters of recommendation from people that you worked with. Who didn't have a portfolio they took to interviews to highlight how well they were loved among their network? LinkedIn changed that game by letting people write a recommendation for you that lives right on your profile. Gone are the days of carrying scattered papers to an interview or making copies of scads of letters. Now, prospective employers can just type in your name on LinkedIn and see all your recommendations in one place. For that to happen though, asking for recommendations is your first step. Remember, you can say when you're fabulous all day long, but when someone else says that you're fabulous, it's much more believable. There are two ways your LinkedIn connections can say good things about you on LinkedIn: recommendations and endorsements. Each has value, but they're both very different. Endorsements are attached to the skills you've populated on your profile. You can add up to 50 skills to your profile, and your first level connections can endorse you for any or all of them by clicking endorse next to that skill. Alternately, your connections can endorse you for a skill you don't currently have on your profile. You can then choose to add it or not. Skills act as keywords on your profile for people to look for you and, perhaps more importantly, to assess your relevance for the jobs you applied for on LinkedIn. The fact that you have more endorsements for these skills help elevate them. LinkedIn will automatically move your higher endorsed skills to the top of your skill list, although you can edit the order they're displayed, especially if the skills you want people to see aren't the highest on the list. Recommendations, on the other hand, serve a different purpose on LinkedIn and take more work from people. While someone can just click a button to endorse you, they must write the recommendation themselves. And this makes them incredibly valuable since you're essentially getting a testimonial or review of your skills, talents, abilities, and accomplishments. Your connections can voluntarily add a recommendation to your profile, or you can ask for one. Either way, you have the opportunity to approve it or ask for edits before it's posted on your profile. There are some forward-thinking goals, give-back kind of people who will naturally write recommendations for people. Unfortunately, that's only a few of the members on LinkedIn. For everyone else, you'll have to request that they help you out. Asking for recommendations from people who know your work style is a no-brainer. These should be current or past supervisors, business or school colleagues, employers, coworkers, subordinates, clients, vendors, trainers, or professors. You can ask for character references here, but they have to say where they've worked with you, so there should be some connection. When asking for recommendations, remember that they must be connected to you on LinkedIn. If you're not connected, send them a connection request first. Then when you are connected, you can ask them to write you a recommendation from their profile or from yours. To do this, from their profile, click on More under their headline. From the options provided, click on Ask for a Recommendation. From your profile, scroll down to your recommendations section. You must already have at least one recommendation to use this option. Click on the plus sign and ask for a recommendation. Search for the name of the person you want to ask. Once you choose either of those options, you'll be pushed to a new page that asks your relationship with that person and in what position you knew them. There will also be a boilerplate note included. You can then hit send, which will pop up on the request in that person's LinkedIn inbox. Just make it a rule that anytime you send someone something on LinkedIn, be it a connection request, a yes to their connection request, or a request for a recommendation, you add a customized note. LinkedIn will prompt you to do this in most cases because it's important. Your note will obviously ask them to write a recommendation, but you should also thank them in advance. If you're asking someone who is not much of a writer, you can even offer to help. And it's always a good idea to share a little about what you'd like them to say. Check out the written lesson for an example of what you might send. No matter what they write, you'll have the chance to review the recommendation and either approve it or ask for edits before it's posted on your profile. When building up your LinkedIn portfolio and asking for recommendations, you may wonder how many you need. As with most things, More is better, but there's not really a magic number. 3 recommendations show up on your profile without having to click see more, but the number of total recommendations shows there as well. Obviously, 1 recommendation is better than none, but 20 are better than 10, and so on. LinkedIn will display the recommendations in reverse chronological order, so each recommendation you receive will push the others down. It is for that reason you should look to update your recommendations on a regular basis so that they continue to be recent and relevant. Aim for 3 if you have none and build from there. In case you are wondering, employers and recruiters are looking at your recommendations. They offer a third-party perspective, highlight the value you provide, and help your profile to stand out from your competition. Your recommendations are social proof that you are who you say, and you have done a good job in the past. Every time someone offers a recommendation, they are putting their reputation on the line, whether it's for a business to use or a candidate to consider, so they hold a lot of weight when people are choosing to work with you. Given the law of reciprocity, it's always a good idea to give before you ask to get. Go through your network and start writing recommendations for people you'd like to receive recommendations from. Think about the same people you would ask: coworkers, supervisors, vendors, clients, and colleagues. Write about their accomplishments and how they've contributed to your success. Think about what they might be looking for down the line and tie your recommendation to that. Often, when you start writing recommendations, you'll find that the same people will reciprocate by sharing some feedback on your profile, which is always a good thing. However, don't rely on the good nature of others and mix your giving with straight out asking people for recommendations. Asking for recommendations on LinkedIn should be an integral component of your strategy to leverage the site. To do so, you need to know why recommendations are so vital for your LinkedIn profile as a job seeker, the difference between endorsements and recommendations, best practices for asking for recommendations, how many recommendations you should seek. Remember to write recommendations for others. Before you know it, you'll have a comprehensive portfolio that will help you with your job search.